Welcome to week 7 of Pelusi's Pick'em. I'm Julianne Pelusi with Job Morrison. Job, thanks so much for joining me this Thursday night on the Thursday Night Football edition before the Steelers take on the Bengals in Cincinnati. And Job, we're used to seeing you on Wednesday nights on the platforms of Steelers Now on your show, Steelers Night Shift. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have going on Wednesday nights for the viewers here?
No, absolutely. So every week, myself and a member of Steelers Now will jump in. So last night, Derek Bell jumped in with me, and we'll talk about mostly about the upcoming game, or if it's a bye week, we'll talk about how the season's going. But big thing is we want to interact with our audience. We give them an
Mhm.
opportunity to ask a lot of questions and give their feedback, and we'll react to it. But that is what we do on Wednesday nights. We let everyone clock in with us and do some work.
I love it. It's the show is going great too, by the way. If you're not watching it, make sure that you watch it. But we're going to get to our picks this week and we got to get them in because we're about to get started here at 8:15. So you only got a couple hours to get this one in. And I got a lot of picks this week when it comes to the gambling aspect of this. Just because I do think this game is going to be a shootout on Thursday nights. I know it's kind of usually even between Thursday night scoring and the rest of the weekend. But I just think defensively, both of these teams are going to be exhausted. And I think that the offense is going to come out on top with that. That being said, I first of all loved the chemistry between Joe Flacco and Jamar Chase that we saw building last week. And I think that they're going to capitalize that. And Jamar Chase anytime touchdown is plus 145 this week. I'm going with that. What do you think, Joe?
No, I think that's definitely a safe bet. If there's one thing that I've learned when you have a new quarterback come onto a team, their first instinct is usually, hey, my number one guy is open somewhere downfield, right? So he's definitely, especially there was that catch last week on that touchdown where, I mean, he threaded the needle between two defenders, and Jamar Chase has made a fantastic catch. It's very safe to say that those two are definitely building a connection there. And I would definitely expect him, especially in the quick game, to target Chase early and often.
Mhm. Absolutely. And then on the Steelers side, there's a couple things that I like here. First of all, I think it is time with Stardom Stidham. I think it is time to start Jalen Warren again. I just think he's due for a big game tonight. I think they're getting him back involved, and they're going to want to get those short passes in. So along with those short passes, I do love Kenny Gainwell over 2.5 catches is on. I believe it was DraftKings. I found that on. So I love Kenny Gainwell over 2.5 catches. And then Warren, anytime TD. It's not exactly a high payout for that, but I just think that it's time for him to get the ball tonight. And I like that. As for let me give you a chance to comment on the running backs there.
No, absolutely. I think definitely when it comes to the Arthur Smith offense, if you want to have pretty safe money, definitely anytime touchdown scores with those running backs and any type of
Mhm.
prop bets that involves touches, catches, and anything like that. They have accounted for, I think it was over 60% of the team's touches so far this season. So that's definitely going to be, like you said, maybe not big payout money, but it's going to be a pretty safe bet for sure.
Yeah, I love the money on the Jamar Chase one. I think that is going to happen tonight. And then the money on Jonnu Smith anytime TD is plus 320 tonight. I think, that's Arthur Smith's guy. I think they're going to get him involved again this week. I loved how much they used tight ends last week, but Darnell Washington was kind of the guy. I think that Jonnu Smith is going to get back involved, and I love the value on that at plus 320. What do you think?
No, absolutely. Johnny Smith, I mean, he's gotten a lot of production with Arthur Smith from his days at Tennessee and even had a stint there in Atlanta when Arthur Smith was the head coach. And we've also seen Darnell Washington begin to outsnap both Fryermuth and Jonnu Smith. But
Mm-hmm.
then next comes Jonnu Smith. He's been getting most of the snaps. Been very intriguing. I think Lisa here agrees. She just hopped up when she heard tight end talk.
Love
Um,
that.
so I think Jonnu Smith, he's going to start to get more touches. You saw last week, he even got involved in the run game on a jet
Mm-hmm.
sweep. I think Arthur Smith really wants to use his very versatile skill set because he's more than just a tight end. I mean, he can split them out wide like we saw in Miami, and we saw him get some carries last week. And I think sooner or later, Jonnu Smith's really going to heat up, and really, I think this tight end core is going to each have a very strong week throughout the season. So I would not be surprised, especially with uh, the Bengals down a pass rusher. We wouldn't see some Jonnu Smith passes downfield like we saw against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Miami, I like the Browns to lose again this week after the Steelers took care of business last week. So we're getting into our next part of this next segment, and that is what's going to happen on Sunday outside of Steelers-Bengals. So I like the Dolphins this week with the 2.5 points. The Browns are a 2.5-point favorite. I like the Dolphins to come in and beat them. 2 1-5 teams. I'm liking the Dolphins here. What do you think?
I will have to. I don't know. It's tricky because the Browns defense plays much better at home than they do on the road. On the
Mm-hmm.
road, they're averaging almost 30 points per game allowed. And when they're the designated home team or at home, so week one, the Packers game, and then London, they're not allowing more than 20 points a game. The most they've allowed is 17. So I think it'll be interesting because Miami's having a lot of internal turmoil as well. Tua's had some interesting sound bits that have come under, I think, unreasonable fire, but have come under
Yeah.
fire nonetheless. And Tyreek Hill is out for this season. I think it'll be interesting. I don't know if I would say Miami will come away with that. I mean, if they can get big plays downfield, they will absolutely come away with it because Jalen Waddle is still absolutely a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal receiver, and he can turn on the burners along with Devon A-Chain. But I don't know. That's an interesting matchup because Cleveland plays really well at home, and Miami, yeah, that they still have an explosive offense, so it'll be an interesting thing to watch for sure.
And let's get into next week's opponent, the Green Bay Packers. They're a 6.5-point favorite over the Cardinals. They have not. So I don't know if you've seen the show much, Joe, but I'm a Packers. Those are my darlings. I think they're a lot better than their record shows. But they haven't been able to win big. And I have counted on them time and time again. But you know what? I'm laying it down again. Packers 6.5-point favorite over the Cards, and I'm going to take Green Bay.
No, absolutely. And I think this time of year, similar to the Steelers historically under Mike Tomlin, I feel like the Packers usually get going in October and build momentum into November and December. And I think the Cardinals are a good team for them to do that. Cardinals have been a little bit of a surprise team for some. But as long as you have Jordan Love as your quarterback, he's going to make a lot of plays downfield. And I think this will be a good game for the Packers to kind of get that momentum building here in October. And I like that pick too because I can't trust the Cardinals.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we can't. My favorite value of the week is the Colts with 1.5 points in LA against the Chargers. The Chargers have that offensive line is all beat up. So I like that I know that they're through my pen. I know that they're on the road here. But I think they're just such a good team, and I think they're a better team than people give them credit for. And with the Chargers offensive line really beat up, I love this pick. I'm definitely going with the Colts this week. What do you think?
No, I think the Colts are just that team that's really sneaky good. I mean, let's be real. They were a quarterback away from really getting things figured out. And
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones has done everything that they need him to do. Make plays in structure, maybe make a couple plays out of structure, lean on your offensive line, and most importantly, Jonathan Taylor is the straw that stirs that drink. And plus, the Colts, they've put a lot of money into that secondary, and their defensive line's always been really good. And you don't have to look too far within this the Steelers division to see that. I mean, this they have single-handedly, taken care of the Steelers offensive line these past 2 years. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the Colts are a very sneaky good team, and I fully expect them to give the Chargers all they can handle. And don't get me wrong, I picked up the Chargers running back Vital in
Yeah.
fantasy last week. Had him on my bench too, and he scored 24 points. So that that's just how it works.
That's how it
But
goes.
I don't expect them to have maybe as good of a performance this week. But no, I think the Colts are a very good pick, especially at basically a pick 'em,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. That'll be that's going to be my pick this week as well.
Did you say the straw that Jonathan Taylor is the straw that serves that drink?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's an analogy for the ages. I love that. The Southern charm coming from Job. I'm enjoying it. Yes, ma'am. This is great. I'm going to tell Alan to say that next week. Yes, ma'am. I like that pick. And then the Eagles, I like them to bounce back against the Vikings. They're again on the road. But I like Philadelphia to bounce back in this one after two straight losses. They're 1.5 point favorite in Minnesota. It's a little tricky. I just think that this is a must win for them after the turmoil that they've had. So I'm taking the Eagles.
I want to take the Vikings because my big brother in my fraternity, he's a big Vikings fan. He's a Minnesota guy all the way through. He's a Twins
Okay.
fan. He's a Vikings fan. I like the Vikings. I've always respected them, but this past week, I got into some heat with some Viking fans on Twitter, or I guess X, formerly known as Twitter. And they got upset because I told them that their quarterback, JJ McCarthy, he's not it. They should have kept Sam Darnold. I'm really upset them. And, just for that, I'm going to go with the Eagles too. Just because
Okay.
I'm like, you know what? If you
Out of
guys
spite.
don't believe me, yeah. Carson Wentz revenge game. Why not? Let's go Eagles. They're going to spoil that for Carson Wentz, and yeah, and they're going to wish JJ McCarthy's back, and then McCarthy's not going to be as good like I told him.
All right, so we have a spite pick for the Eagles there. I'm
Absolutely.
gonna tell you, like, people can be just vicious online. You're in the dawn of your career. For me, man, it was the Leafs fans. The Leafs fans gave me hell when I was covering the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, they just any criticism about the Leafs that went on your page, you're getting torched for it. So I understand, Job. Trust me, I get it. Let's
And
move
and the
on.
Leafs, it always the Leafs. I'm sorry, the Leafs. It always just comes back to bite them. I don't know why. It-
I know. I'm like, where do you think this is gonna go? Not to not to a Stanley Cup. But yeah, they're gonna find this. They're gonna come find me in Pittsburgh. I want to get back to the Steelers and Bengals to coming up tonight. Steelers 5.5 point favorites, and I am very hesitant, Joe, to pick this. I just think Joe Flacco knows what this defense wants to do. Gosh, I am going to take the Steelers at with 5.5, but I don't love it. I don't love it. What are you going to pick this week?
I'm going to pick the Bengals, whether it's
Okay.
they win outright on the money line or they cover. The reason why Pittsburgh, since the mergers, 0-8 on the road in divisional games on Thursday Night Football, and like
Right?
you said, yeah, and like you said, Tomlin was probably not happy to see Joe Flacco back on his
Hmm.
schedule. He made it clear in his press conference on Tuesday, and then he loves Joe Flacco in a weird competitors way.
Yeah,
He respects Joe
exactly.
Flacco. He appreciates Joe Flacco because he and Tomlin kind of got their opportunities around the same time. Tomlin in '07 and Flacco was drafted in '08. So they know each other very well, like you said. But I am going to say the Bengals at least cover. I don't know if they'll win because their offensive line is not very good.
Yeah.
Their defense is not very good either. But I agree with you. I don't love the Steelers at 5.5,
Yeah.
especially when most of their wins have come, of their 4 wins, 3 are 3 points or fewer. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't love 5.5.
And there's that Thursday night narrative. Tomlin is just not, he's not had a good showing on Thursday night against divisional opponents. So this is a dicey one. I don't love picking this last week. The Bengals, I didn't know what to do with them because we like to make a pick for next who the Steelers are playing next. And I just didn't know what to do with them. And I wrote in my notes IDK and circled it. Just because they're figuring it out with Joe Flacco in there. I think that trade really worked out for them. And I think it's what they
Yep.
needed to do. So I'm kind of sitting back and watching that one, but I do think that this is going to be a shootout tonight. I'm going to take the over of 44.5. What do you think?
44.5. So I'm trying to think of the implied score for Pittsburgh. 40, I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be a low score. I know I'm saying the Bengals defense isn't very good, but I do think in a divisional matchup, they're going to challenge Pittsburgh as much as they can. And
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if it's on the under. And this is one of those 3-point type of wins for either team. So I'm going to say go on the under just because Thursday nights can be sloppy, and Pittsburgh, they don't perform well on Thursdays.
Right.
And the Bengals, though, like you said, Flacco is, he showed that he is a veteran and that he is reliable. And like we discussed earlier, he and Chase have that connection already building.
Yes.
I expect Pittsburgh to do everything they can to eliminate that. I don't expect them to fully because Chase is just too good of a player to
Mm-hmm.
say he's not going to do anything. So I think it will end up being a low scoring game. And I don't see the winner winning by more than 3. But who knows? It's wild things happen.
All right. And again, Alan is at the game. So on Steelers Now, we are going to have full coverage for you of Steelers-Bengals coming up tonight at 8:15. Make sure you like this video and hit subscribe. And for all of you watching, we want to thank you. Joe, thanks so much for coming on Pelusi's Pick'em. Love the insight. You're doing great. And make sure you watch Steelers Night Shift. Loving the show, Joe. You're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's a lot of fun. It's not very often you get to just pick games and
Yep.
talk about what's going on. So it's definitely a lot of fun.
That's what we do. Thanks for joining us. Take care, guys.